My Hero content, you guys. Come on, My Hero content. Come on in. Let's go.
God, My Hero content.
Yes, finally, we can watch again.
Content.
Deku. Oh my gosh, Deku.
Oh my god.
Cool.
Oh my god, Endo Chaco's
Sugoi.
here. What?
What's
Whoa. I said Endo Chaco's here. That's crazy.
I'm closing this poll.
Oh, there's a poll? Fuck.
There's a poll to see who watched or not. And they are gonna be, well, we won't spoil it. Oh, Mr. Host is here. We have this blocked off right now. Host, did you see this movie or this season?
No, but I saw your Letterboxd review and it made me laugh on site.
Okay, you could stay here, but we can't have any more Joy Boys following. I thought we had it locked, but maybe that's an administrative thing.
Shit.
It's okay. You can stay, but we can't have any more. So any Joy Boys are watching this, you can't jump in, okay?
Uh-huh.
But yeah. So we
oh my god,
survived.
I'm the only one that voted no. That's crazy.
We survived. Don't spoil your takes here. We survived the reception weekend, folks.
Woohoo!
And Steen
Oh
and
my
I's
God.
souls are now twisted and fucked forever in Hades.
Okay.
But in the
That's what we
meantime,
hate.
in the midst of chaos, we did catch the latest movie, My Hero Academia, You're Next. But before we get to that, I do want to talk about Season 7 of My Hero Academia, because we kind of ended JoyCast at the very beginning of it. There's this big JoyCast in My Hero-shaped hole in all of our hearts right now, and I wish to fill it this evening. So I'm gonna start with My Hero Academia Season 7. Anyone who was watching JoyCast, listening, I should say more accurately, it was a podcast. Still archived, still listenable, if you know the proper links. On our Podbean and Spotify. Val and I, a very common thing of all the time we were working on that podcast, we would mention that whenever there was a season of My Hero Academia that airs with a movie, expect a dip of quality in one of the cores, either the first core or the second core. You know the anime TV is going to get screwed over. Because
Hold
I
up.
always...
If you don't want spoilers for the movie, like, that's cool. We're not talking about the movie for a minute, but definitely you'll want to go before we start talking about the movie.
I mean, if you don't want spoilers for the movie, I feel like it's too late. Is it still airing? It's definitely not airing here anymore.
You probably shouldn't click on a video that's talking about the My Hero movie.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes, folks. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't think we're spoiling much. We'll get to that. But generally,
That's
I don't
true.
think there's much to spoil, honestly. So I think you're good. Guys, I think you're good. Because if you haven't seen it now, you're probably not going to see it until the DVD drops December at the earliest.
7, because it is really painful for me to keep my mouth shut about this right now.
Okay, just hold on. Your Discord wisely cut you off. But yeah, so, as I said, I always say expect a drop-off with the anime. Not this time. Not this time. Oh my gosh. This has probably been the best season of My Hero Academia, in my opinion, since Season 2. Season 2 was incredible. I feel like the first core of Season 3 was decent, and then it's just been like a death spiral since. But Season 7 came back, and the reason why I would decry there being a drop-off when there's a movie around was because those movies always take the veteran talent with them. They always take those veteran animators and directors, and so then the movie kind of gets kind of like the holdovers. And not to, like, I'm one of those guys who, a lot of people say, like, Bones is bad in general, and that's not true.
That's not true.
Bones is great. What happens is that, as I said before, I feel like that these previous seasons in Season 2 have been a death spiral, but that's not because of a dip, like, that's not because they're bad. It's because that Bones is a victim of its own efficiency. And we clearly always understand what Bones is capable of, and we just feel robbed when we don't see what they're capable of. And even the worst seasons of My Hero Academia are better than most runs of anime. I know Blue Lock fans are suffering right now, if you want to have a bit of a
Are
JoyCast
we?
discussion. Have you seen Blue Lock Season 2, Stina?
Season 2? What are you talking about? Oh, Blue Lock.
Blue
Sorry.
Lock, the soccer
I got
one.
confused.
The
Blue
one you
Box.
said, because
No,
you want to read a
so-
sports manga. You said, hey,
Yeah.
what should I read? I was like, Blue Lock has an anime if you're interested, but I've just seen nothing. Apparently, they're using PowerPoint transitions.
No, straight up. I saw a TikTok the other day where a girl was talking about that, and she's like, it's literally like a fucking Windows slideshow.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
they're suffering, never, and I mean that. So whenever I say that Bones is being bad, remember this is relative. Bones is a well-run studio. Refer back to previous episodes of JoyCast, where I really go to ball for them in relation to folks like Mappa and stuff, okay? Bones is very well taken care of. So that's why we see that blue sky box. Remember, their animators are getting paid, they're getting fed, they're sleeping when we see that. But that blue sky box was only in the first core, and it was a small price to pay for the wonderful dark Vigilante Deku levels of art direction later. But let's roll it back. Let's talk about those directors. Kenji Nagasaki, the chief director since day one of My Hero Academia. Usually he's the guy that gets pulled away for the movies. He did Two Heroes. He did Heroes Rising. He did World Heroes Mission. He did not go to Your Next. And we will bring that back up later. He stays for this season, but he's also backed up by a newcomer. Not newcomer to the industry, but newcomer for this level of direction. We get Naomi Nakayama. And oh my gosh, she crushed it. I didn't go through the specifics of who was directing each episode, but I know Naomi worked on the first string of episodes, specifically the Stars and Stripes fight. She goes hard. She's excellent, and she's very indicative of this entire season. Very high quality, high consistency. What else can I say? It's that, like I said before, like, we don't feel robbed this season. And what was the key? What is the key to what makes this season so good? It's the pacing. No flashbacks. They did a 4-episode recap OVA that did go into the seasonal order. That's why there's only 21 episodes versus 25. We don't miss that 4. I know it was just recap. What's that? I thought you were saying something.
Nope.
Okay, but yeah, there was 4 episodes of recap. Me and Val discussed this on JoyCast because he was confused. He's like, I thought they could have finished I thought they could have finished the manga this season. If it wasn't for those 4 episodes, they probably could have at the rate that they were combing through those chapters, man. If it wasn't for that OVA, if it wasn't for the epilogue in the manga, they really could have finished. They really could have finished this season, but they're waiting. They're gonna pace that out. But the pacing is very good. I was like flabbergasted because usually they go like 2 chapters per episode, and it's filled full of flashbacks. And then you got Horikoshi's usual vignettes that are also in the original. That's on him, which I still, as much as I gas him up, those vignettes are still bad. But besides that, there's no recaps, there's no flashbacks after those first 4 episodes. So it just goes. Everything is meat. There's no filler. Every episode feels so good. At one point, I think they went through 4 chapters at once, which was crazy. And that's when Val got messaged to me. He's like, yo, I think they're going to finish it this season. I'm like, holy crap, they might, but not with those 4, not with the epilogue. I am genuinely shocked that we got even a bit of Armored All Might versus AFO. I thought this season was going to end on that shot with him with the briefcase, and they'd say, to be concluded. I thought they'd stop there, which I think was, what, episode 18, episode 19? I thought we would get that far, but my god, the pacing just rolled. It was so good. That being said, I briefly brought up the blue sky. I want to apologize. As much as I gas up Bones, I want to apologize because I'm one of the guys who popularizes that idea to get mad when you see blue sky. It clearly was this. They were making a point with it this time, where in the very first phase, the sun is all bright and cheery. It doesn't make sense. But then the moment that Bakugo dies this season, boom, it goes dark and you feel the tone shift. Very smart, very smart. But if there's anything that I did not like this season, I thought this was a perfect season. But if there's something I did not like, I was not a fan of the openings and the EDs this season. I felt like, I know a lot of people were impressed with the usual Sakuga, but if you really look at them, like comb through them like I have to, it's mostly just characters standing around. Like, you get that one sequence with Deku in the first first opening this season, but like the music's okay. The animation's okay, they're just standing there, and you could tell that this is where they made their cuts. They were very wise and smart with their cuts this season. And that's where they were. That being said, though, I really do like the music in the first ED, Tsubomi by, it looks like I'm not gonna pronounce this correctly, Omoino Take. It's the first ED of the season. I really love that song. It was very fitting for if it was a final season. It would have fit real well. But that being said, I mean, I know what, the comments got my back. Ninja Shadow does not like the OPs. I agree. They were not that good. Flute Ninja, I think adapting 4 chapters a season because some were so short. You would think that, Flute Ninja, you would think that. Like, during the overhaul arc, you think they would do that, but they didn't. The stuff that this manga is covering this season were actually pretty sizable chapters. And they were still going. It's just because that's what happens when you go direct, panel by panel, second by second. You can get a lot done. Like, they were not wasting time this season. It's really good. I was really impressed. So with that being said, you'll see on the to your left here, we have reviews. So we are calling season 7 of My Hero Academia's great. It was great, and that feels good because we thought it was not going to be. At least half of it we thought was going to be bad, but it was all good. That being said. If a host just, spoiled it when he saw my Letterboxd review, it seems like, as I lamented that whenever there's a movie we can't have a good season, I guess if we have a good season, we can't have a good movie. And My Hero Academia, You're Next was really bad, guys. Guys, it was really bad.
I was talking about it, like, right after we saw it, and I was like, that just felt like Look Who's Here, the film. Like, it's just, oh, guys, look, Deku's here, and now Chaco's here, and now they're gonna fight this guy who you also know, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, it didn't feel like it had a plot. It just felt like it was my favorite character cameo after cameo. You know what I mean?
Okay, so, as I mentioned before, Kenji Nagasaki did not direct this one, and that must have been the difference maker. Although I think all these movie stories have been on a steep decline, and the writer has been the same for these 4 films. Yosuke Kuroda, he wrote all 4 of these films, but each one has gotten worse. I think Two Heroes, actually, despite my feelings on that when it first came out, I think actually has the best story of these films. Close second from Heroes Rising. After that, World Heroes Mission is kind of the good kind of fan service. And it's kind of funny, like, Deku's very well written in that one. I really like how Deku's written in World Heroes Mission. But then you get to this one, You're Next, and you get this fascinating concept about Dark Might. Oh my gosh, an evil All Might? Who would write that? Certainly not JoyRide, if you've ever seen the first 5 episodes of My Hero Abridged. Who could have given Bones that idea? But yeah, the fascinating concept. It's not a bad execution, it's lack thereof. This is a movie, as Stina says, it's fan service. It's look who's here, and then it's point A to point B. Nothing is happening. The newly introduced character, Julio, has a little bit something going on, but again, it's not really fleshed out at all. And I just don't know. I don't know what happens when you have the same writer 4 times. And yes, it's expected when there's a steady decline in quality, but like, I told Stina while we were in the theater, the dialogue was so bad. I thought it was a translation. I thought maybe Crunchyroll had phoned in the translation, but when you really look at it, no, it was just really bad. Deku is... the best part about World Heroes Mission is Deku is this little good cop. He's a little goody two-shoes, and he gets to work off of, I forgot the character's name, and I shouldn't because he's really good.
I was gonna say Roger, it's not that.
Rhodey.
It was
Rhodey.
There we go.
Rhodey Soul is a great foil to Deku. Because you have this subtextual story about classism in the My Hero universe, and how Deku's this goody little two-shoes cop, and he has to work with a very street-level vigilante type guy who does not think of himself as a vigilante. He's just a guy getting by, and they get to play off each other, and it's very fun. It's a great prompt, it's a great script, the dialogue is good. It's the saving grace of that film, otherwise the overarching plot is lame and dumb. It's incredibly stupid, but you can forgive stupidity, but you can't forgive a lack of a story that Your Next has, where it's just Deku and friends are here, Darkbite is here.
He's gonna come make a speech every couple of minutes.
He shows up and talks. Hi guys, I'm Dark All Might. I'll see you in the Sakuga written finale. Until then, there's Deku. And sometimes Chaco touched him one time. And
it's fucked.
It's not good, guys. This is not good. Like I said, so Deku. So going back to Deku, Deku is not Deku in this film. Deku is a Deku action figure with catchphrases. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna be the Deku that makes everyone smile. I guess I was strong all along. The theater started fucking laughing. That scene where he lifts the bike, he goes, you know what? I guess I am strong after all. And everyone started Stina fucking started laughing. Like, she was the first that everyone followed.
Is that real?
Is what real?
Confirmed real. Yes, Deku is very strong.
Yeah, that line. Oh, it's very real.
It's very bad. The dialogue is terrible in this film. That being said, I told you that I was afraid that Crunchyroll may have phoned in the translation. That was not the case. I think Crunchyroll might have been the saving grace of the dialogue, because Cliff Chapin in the booth definitely improving for Bakugo and getting some shit in. Speaking of Crunchyroll, no logos on the film, not on the poster. Instead, we have now Toho International. There seems to be a shakeup at Toho right now, and it's going to be quite... I have no context there at the moment. I don't know what's going on. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, but I see a Crunchyroll-less future for many anime films going forward. And that's all I will say about that, because there's a lot that I do know about Crunchyroll now that I'm not at liberty to speak publicly about. But it was very fascinating. I think that was one of the last things we said on JoyCast, was how fascinated we were that Crunchyroll was not in the marketing, and definitely was not involved in marketing, which was very much felt. If anything, if there was anything for a lack of Crunchyroll that was felt, it was in the marketing. This movie just kind of sprung on people, it seems. So Toho, if they're going Crunchyroll-less in the future, they need to hammer out those details. There was some marketing, but not nearly as much as you would expect. Someone said surprised didn't come Alt Might. He'd have like the... You know what? There was a scene where he had the feathery costume. He wears all these wonderful costumes just to talk. And you think at least that would be interesting? Like, he would be like a coward? And they do briefly mention that he says a line, unlike All Might, I can't take a hit. This could have... The whole effect of him sitting there from a distance talking to folks could have worked if they had really pushed the cowardly angle. But again, there was really bad dialogue in this film. It's very bad writing. It's barely built together. Stina, you mentioned that this movie ripped off Sailor Moon Black Dream Hole and Promise of the Rose.
A little bit.
I feel like a lot of anime films ripped that off. I feel like the third Pokemon movie, Spell of the Unknown, ripped that off first. And so many anime films have already ripped those off that by the time you get to Your Next, there are no crumbs left to rip off. And that's the problem. There's nothing left for this thing to glean from, to derive of. It's an empty void of a film. It's very sad.
Like an anime movie trope at this point is having the bad guys in a giant floating island and shit. I feel like I've seen that in every anime movie.
Yes, yes. This is the most by the books, by the numbers, and it's so derivative at this point. And My Hero didn't bother like adding anything new to the formula other than the concept of an evil All Might, and they don't do anything with it. It's so sad. Also, the Anna character, during the initial trailers, that Anna character, who is the kind of the MacGuffin of this film, I swear to God, I thought that was Melissa Shield. I thought he stole Melissa. I thought that would have been a very interesting thing. This film is so derivative. They derived from their own films. That character is literally just a reused Melissa Shield model. Why? It's not CG. Don't know why they had to do that. But oh my God, they're out of ideas. And that's a shame because this movie did very well. I think this is their best performing at the box office, apparently. And I'm a 10-film truther. I remember the day when they announced this picture deal and they said it was 10 movies. We are 4 in, highly profitable, and we have another season coming out next year. I think we're going to get at least 5 films. And if they keep doing well, what stops them from doing the other 5? Other than they're out of ideas. I wonder now that Horikoshi has some time off, if he's not helping them with that fifth film with more effort. I don't know how involved he was with this one, but if he's not, I can feel the absence. I can feel Horikoshi's absence here. Because, damn, there's nothing going on here. But yeah, that's what I forgot to mention. Oh yeah, so Nagasaki Sensei was not on this film, so Tensai Okamura takes over. And what is this man's call to fame? What's his most recent? He's a veteran, mind you. He's very experienced. But what is his most recent directorial effort? Oh my God, it's 7 Deadly Sins. Uh-oh. That should have been very telling from the very beginning. Because 7 Deadly Sins does have a good first season, but the remainder of it is not done very well. And that might not necessarily be his fault. That can be a producer issue. Echelon says, do you think they'll pull a whole alternate universe plot for one of the movies, i.e. Shattered Glass? No. I don't think they do it.
Evil Deku versus good Deku? Hell yeah.
Dark Deku? They won't. There's no way they'd do that again. They just did with All Might. God, what would they perceivably do? But yeah, but like before we move on, it's bad. I gotta put the icon on the
It bad.
It very bad. And oh my gosh, we're only 25 minutes in, and there's really not much to say because there's not much going on other than like I would say like as I said before. Bones, we have expectations for Bones, and when those expectations are not met, we feel robbed. And in these previous movies, I feel like our expectations do get blown away. Of course they do. They have all their veteran animators involved, and for the most part, they still do this time. Unfortunately, I feel like expectations are just barely met. This is solid, but I feel like the only time I was wowed animation-wise in this film, it was the second finale. There's two final fights, and that second final fight, oh my God, merciless. Like, we just want to leave. There's nothing going on. They're like, oh, okay, you get to fight him again, but now he's a giant, uninspired, faceless monster.
Is he blue?
He's blue for a sec, then he's red. And then Deku does a really cool... He does the same shit he did in World Heroes Mission, a different version of it, and it's really cool. And then that's it. And it's just like, okay, that was cool, but like, it's getting pretty late into the evening, and I'd rather go home at this point, because
Bro, I don't even think it's dumb fun. I feel like it's just, like, nothing happens.
Nothing's going on. I feel like the script I think they cheaped out on the script, and the script got rushed, and they had all this extra money, went, fuck. Season 7 was officially done. We don't need to give it back. Let's do something. And it's a cool shot, but, like, they could have just mixed it in with the first and final fight. Like, it feels too disjointed. Like, they break it up. There's a lull, just for they can sit there, and Julio can have a moment with the girl. Again, there's not much going on, and there's a whole mafia subplot that's very barren and superficial. And the mafia's just there because, oh my god, it's the mafia, but there's nothing going on. And I swear to God, there is a vignette in this one at the very end of this fight where literally they give him the same talk about selfishness that they gave Overhaul at the end of that season. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so derivative and empty. This sucks. Is it dumb fun? No, it's just dumb and boring. Because Heroes Rising, I agree, is dumb fun. Actually, I wouldn't agree with that. I truly believe Heroes Rising is harrowing as fuck. Yeah, even though, you know, Deku and Pals will make it at the end of the day, you're still feeling for them. Like, they're getting their asses whooped in that film, and you're scared for them. Because they're trapped on this island. What's that, host?
It makes you think, because you have the quirk overload thing in the third movie that's, like, really fucked up and shit, and it's like, oh, all of his friends are gonna get their quirks overloaded. Like, what would that even look like? Like, that's what that put in my brain.
Well, so I'm just talking about the second film, Heroes Rising. Like, that's the one where I think is harrowing. Whereas World Heroes Mission, which you mentioned, I think that one is the dumb fun. I think that one's like, fucking stupid in a fun way.
Okay, so Hero Risings is the second one, and these names are so goddamn confusing.
I know, because they all have hero in them except for this one. It's so.
Numbers?
But that being said, like, if I were to rank these, like, put them together, it's funny how well, despite two heroes, is really just an overglorified mini arc in the anime. Like, it has one special Sakuga in the final fight, but otherwise, it's literally just an episode. It's just a couple of anime episodes strung together. But I generally think that has the best story. It's very cute and very sweet and heartfelt. And it actually, and by the time you get to this point in the anime in season 7, and it was actually important. They really do a good, they do a good job. They do the best that they can to mix in Melissa and get that influence there. But yeah, it's like, it's funny how as time goes on, I think Two Heroes is actually my favorite. If it's not Heroes Rising, the second one. Just because Heroes Rising has the movie quality animation, and the story, although bare bones, I would call that story efficient. I like the story of the two children that have very different views on heroes, and the way they follow Deku and respond to Deku, and then that whole fight with the I call him All for Clone. I feel like he's empty, but at least he's scary. He is scary, and sometimes that's enough. Sometimes you just need a force of nature. In this case, that's what he would be, is a force of nature to fight. And it's very harrowing. You know they'll make it out in the end, but you wonder how the fuck they're gonna make it out in the end. And the fact that even Horikoshi teased that he gave them the blueprint, his original idea for the ending of My Hero Academia, if it ended sooner, that's the ending it would have been. So you get that in the mix too. That's really cool. It's almost like a what if from Horikoshi. Someone mentioned an alternate universe. This one's kind of like an alternate universe film in a way. But I mean, at least the way they treat the canon of it. So I really like that film. Number 3, as I said before, dumb fun, but I think that one's got the best animation of them all. Like, there's some crazy fucking shots in that one. Please rewatch that one if you guys have access to it.
The first chase scene, they went fucking hard with the angles of Rhodey, like, parkouring away from
Yes,
him.
that is great. To me, that fight in the canyon, when they do the rotation shot, that whole movie is fucking flexing. It's probably the reason why the anime seasons around that time fucking sucked. But that movie's a flex. The way they are just going nuts on that film. Oh, so Drill likes the film. That's good. I gotta say, a lot of people still liked it.
According to the poll, most people like the film. Like, we're in the minority here.
Yeah, I know we're the minority, but I gotta ask, relatively, that's kind of the discussion right now, is relatively, compared to the first 3 films, how much do you like it? Because I feel like people are going to debate this one with 2 heroes as the worst, and you could argue either or. But as time goes on, and the more that I digest it and You're Next, I feel like You're Next is way worse, and 2 Heroes might be personally my fucking favorite. Oh, so Drill went in with minimum expectations. Fair. That's fair.
This is the first My Hero movie I've seen in theaters, so I don't know what I expected either. Maybe I expected something and that was the problem.
Diligent's saying saying what we're saying, poor execution, and for me, just like to the point where we just really don't. So everyone agrees at least the execution fucking sucked, and then for me and Stina, it was the dialogue was like laughably terrible. Like there's nothing going on. That's another thing too. If you watch the animation, you'll notice there's instances where characters are definitely moving around talking, but there's no dialogue. And then there's sequences where Deku's like saying shit and his mouth is closed. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
It's so crazy.
And that's not Crunchyroll's fault, because they get a very strict script of what they're allowed to dub over. So what they were given, they were just following orders, man. And I'm just like, what? Like, I feel like the original had to leave that shit out too. So Drill, have you not seen the other 3 movies? Because if you haven't seen them, then you have been robbed. No wonder you enjoy this, because you have not seen this level of animation for My Hero. I would kindly suggest that you watch at least World Heroes Mission. Because then you'll see World Heroes Mission, you'll at least see effort in the script and also the best animation in the series. And with 2 Heroes, you'll see both a really good story and really good animation. And then if you see 2 Heroes, you'll see anime TV level animation, but with a really sweet, heartfelt story. That's okay. So, Film Red vibes. At least Film Red had a lot. Stina saw Film Red as well. Stina,
I felt like Film Red was much better than this one.
It had a lot of effort, especially in the musical numbers. Even if it was over-glorified music videos.
And there was a story, like a fully fleshed out story that was moved along by more than the villain coming in the room and making a little speech.
Yeah, like I wasn't very high on Film Red, but Film Red was way better than this.
This makes me miss Film Red.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I regret not liking Film Red as much as I did after seeing this and going, oh wow, this is the worst it could get. Like, you could have this really good animation and nothing else.
Like, I loved Film Red.
Oh, I remember
Film Red made my mom cry. Yo, Drill fucking good. I'm glad she was moved.
Good, yeah, because Film Red is very moving.
I love Film Red. I kind of, like, I really liked it when I saw it in theaters, but now I'm just, like, ride or die for it, and I feel like I need to watch it again.
Diligent says that Your Next took pages out of Film Red. It took pages out of everything. That was, like, what we said at the beginning of this review, is that it's so highly derivative of everything that it has nothing going on.
It does nothing new.
There's nothing going on. And that's so sad. So, was there anything that we liked about this film? I do like the ED song. Was it called The Gift by Vondi? That ED fucking
Vondi,
rocks. Yeah. What's that, host?
I said it's Vondi. Vondi just rocks in general.
But now you say that, but Vondi also has the opening of this movie, which I would say is very bad.
Oh.
So when me and Steve saw this, it was very poorly mixed. It's like, it was like Vondi was screaming, you're here for an English dub. There's been at least 5 to 10 minutes of English dub, And then it's just Vondi screaming in Japanese, and the music
so
is just
bad.
barely audible, and she's just screaming into the mic, and the whole theater's like confused and on the verge of laughter.
It was really funny.
It was really poorly mixed, and everyone was confused. But that being said, but the ED was fucking awesome. It was just one season too late. I wish this was the credits music for the Vigilante Deku arc. It would have fit so perfectly. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It's one of my favorites in the series. Drill says pros, hot mafia lady. Yeah, but no, because again, she's so empty. And like they're trying to have a comical moment with her when the guy's robotics don't work. She's like, don't scare me like that. And they get her, and it's like so here's another good about this film. Boy, do I have a turd to polish. Oh boy. I would never say, and you know from the director's commentary, I will never say that I will improve this series. My Hero Academia Abridged is not an improvement upon the original, it's supplemental. That being said, Bones has given us a massive layup for a very fun parody. And so much fun in the fact that, again, Evil All Might, not surprising to the point where, kind of like how I say in the past with Horikoshi's twists in quotations, that the twists are not interesting because they are so obvious. It's the fact that how do we get to the solution to that twist that's interesting. But the twists are obvious, and in that way, an Evil All Might was always very obvious, to the point where I wrote for it in my notes for the parody. And I sat there, and when this trailer came out last year, or earlier this year, I was like, fuck yes, they get it. They know this was inevitable. We know we need this. So I wrote a treatment for this parody already. And so when I watched this, Dina saw me taking notes, I was like, oh god, there's nothing I have to change here. Like, anything that I wrote before seeing this film is so empty that what I preemptively wrote for this character fits so well. Cause he just sits there and talks. It's not easy to do. It's not difficult to alter that. So I'm so happy. I'm going to have so much fun. It's going to be a direct sequel to Dark Deku Abridged in terms of narrative. So get excited for that. That's all I can say about it though at this point, because there's nothing I can do with that until I get the footage in hand. And I have no clue. Usually I have some warriors out there doing me a service, and they get that footage in my hands very early. But the way the marketing has been with this film, I don't think I'm going to get early access to this footage. So don't hold your breath for this one, folks, because there is another parody that needs to come out first anyways, and I gotta do that one first. But canonically, because basically the next My Hero, you'll see when it comes out, it's very different. It connects to something else. But this movie will definitely be the actual sequel to Dark Deku Abridged. It'll be very interesting. But what else is the chat saying? Echelon saying facts. Yes, it's just gonna be a layup. It's gonna be very fun. Digital, I didn't hate the movie. I just wish it was better. The trailer made it look better than it actually was. Well, that's the job of trailers. But I agree. Like, again, the idea of an evil All Might, considering who All Might really is in the original, is very fucking cool. That's why we did what we did with the Abridged series. In those first 5 episodes. Because it really is, All Might kind of leans himself, design-wise, to be kind of a POS. As some people like to say in the comments, we were the boys before the boys, even though the boys had a comic book long before we did a parody, even though I never knew about it. Val did.
Terrible.
Val didn't channel it into his performance. Yes, terrible comic. But Val would argue otherwise. Val's a huge champion of that comic. It's a product of its time. I will at least say it is a product of its time. They don't make them like they used to for better and worse. Rizuku gonna make an appearance. Deku's in it. Literally, this film is just Dark Might, Deku, and Julio. Like, what the fuck is anyone else? Oh, you know what? There is another thing I liked about this movie. It's during the dream sequences which again is such a
That
Sailor
was the
Moon
other
ripoff.
piece that was very Sailor Moon.
Yes,
Dark
it's-
Dreamhole pill.
It's so dark dreamhole pilled. I agree with you because you made me watch this movie, and it's still so fucking bad. But oh my god, that scene where Todoroki is playing catch with his siblings and fucking Toya shows up, that was fucking nasty work. Oh my god, that was a gut punch, alright? That's not fucking nice. And I have to imagine if we had seen this opening night with a room full of sweaty anime fans, they would have lost their shit. You know they would have lost it at that scene. Holy shit. That was nasty. That was some nasty work. Luke Drain says, had fun watching a movie with friends, but the movie itself was not good. End fight was laughable when it just ran out of budget, and the fact people were cheering while thousands died was hilarious. okay, they didn't run out of budget. Hey, they didn't run out of budget. That looked great. It looked great. It's the fact that the story was so empty. We're sitting here like, is this fucking
No
over?
one cares.
Nobody cares. You've given us
No
nothing
impact.
to care about other than Julio. And Julio's not enough to care about. He gets one sad flashback scene, and that's another thing too. The
I'm not
mafia.
into that kind of ship dynamic either. I don't like the butler-master ship. It just feels gross.
The
I
master
don't
and
know.
kitten ship. I agree.
Yeah, I don't like it.
They literally. So this movie was so boring that a group in front of us just gave up and started having a conversation like halfway through and never ended from middle to like finish. They're just talking like this, normal room tone, just talking about
I mean,
things.
they were all like 13.
They were 13. They had a older adult with them, not quite a full.
Well, like I saw the dad drop them off, so I think that was their big brother.
Yeah, it was
like,
their-
none
it was
of
their
those
big-
kids
you're right.
were over 16.
You're right. They're big. It was definitely a big brother. And then him just discussing the problem with the age dynamic was very funny. Anytime they touched their old hands,
so funny.
and he's just going on about he's telling his sister how that's problematic and that that's not good. Like a whole Wikipedia, like a whole Tumblr
It
post.
was really wholesome.
It was very
actually.
wholesome. It was as wholesome as it was annoying as it was hilarious. It kind of fulfilled the experience.
Annoyed with them, but then I was just like, whatever. She's got to learn it somewhere at some time. I can put up with it.
Because again, we had the one sexually repressed tweener in the audience. Anytime those two came together, I can't. I literally cannot. I'm literally at the movie theater watching My Hero Academia, You're Next, and I literally cannot even. It was like literally her reaction. It was so fucking funny.
Cute.
It was
She
very
was in
cute.
her little tattoo hoodie. I was like, oh, girl.
It
this
was
is who
cute. It was annoying. It was hilarious. It was.
I was just happy for them because, like, so nice to have that in town, you know?
I'm so glad someone was enjoying it.
Exactly.
Like, so all
exactly.
that
I'm like,
fan
this
service.
movie did put something positive in the world.
Yeah, to say all that fan service we saw, it was for her. It was just for her. That girl in the Deku hoodie. It was just for her, girl. Dylan says, I'm glad we didn't get baited by those, those costumes in World Heroes Mission. Yes! I'm still mad about that. The costumes in World Heroes Mission that were there for 5 seconds and then we never see them again. That was so fucking stupid. The fuck was that about?
And they made for cool merch that me and Bun won at an arcade.
That is true. It made for good merch. That was the whole point of it, was
hell
merch.
yeah.
But if you're gonna make such a big deal about it in the marketing and promotion, why couldn't they wear it through the whole film? They were so cool. They need to save the budget for the last season. I mean, they will. It's only gonna be 13. It's only gonna be a 13 episode core. There's no way that's 25 episodes. Impossible. By the way, those dumbass leakers are rolling in their graves right now. I remember, like, towards the end of the season, like, oh, the final season has been confirmed by Chinese hackers that it's gonna be a movie. I'm just sitting like, no, it's not. Yeah, I know what you don't know, and that's not how this works.
It's an UFO table, guys.
The Mafia chick had infinite Tsukiyomi as a quirk. Bro, dude had Aizawa's quirk, but in a fucking, like, Squarespace area. That was fucking bullshit. And what did it amount to?
Oof.
And what the fuck did it amount to? Like, one fight. It was like, okay, I'm gonna be in this one area. but there was a bubble, and then here's like...
That was the big thing. I thought that fight was gonna be so much bigger. I thought it was gonna be such a big deal, because I'm like, whoa, that's fucking OP. And then it was immediately just like, guys, look who's here.
Yeah, it was like okay.
Look who else's favorite character is here. You know,
it was
I'm
like
oh my God.
okay staging. Like I honestly, if I had to say something, if I had to give another compliment to the film, that particular fight definitely had some interesting staging, and by the same virtue that I compliment Deku and Rhodey, I would Giolo's kind of a poor man's Rhodey. And not that Giulio's kind of... Again, Deku's a Deku action figure in this one, where he's very upbeat and positive in a very fucked up robotic way. And Giulio is very jaded. And he doesn't give a fuck, and he uses Deku like a shield and a decoy against Deku's will. And that's actually kind of fun. I do want to compliment the staging of that action sequence. That's actually quite fun. And the fact there's a little bubble and they have to work their way around it. It's just like everything else around it is so... Again, the whole movie's so fucking lame. And yes, they kill off a mafia member every 5 minutes. Because, those mafia members don't have a characterization. They try something funny with the mafia chick, but the joke doesn't land. But it was one of the few notes I wrote during that movie where I saw the bit where she's like, "Oh, you scared me. You almost hit me." I wrote a bit for that. It's gonna be fucking great. I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to bring back the death ticker from those other movies we've abridged. Because even though we've done movies in quotations, I saved the death counter for the actual films that we abridge, and because there's a lot of fun you can have with that. Giulio was the tween John Wick. More derivative shit. I wish he was that cool. And honestly, it's a great way to it is a great way to describe him though. He's supposed to be this jaded, tired, like I should have been retired ages ago kind of motherfucker. And and again, I wish there was there is the foundation of something great here. Let's go back to what I said about Bones. We know when we've been robbed. And this time, it's not the animation where we're robbed on. We know we have been robbed of we've been robbed at bare minimum a decent story. The material is here. They just rushed it out. And it's so unfortunate. Giulio will hopefully be some tween girls. Hopefully, as me and Steven said, it happened. Literally, this girl in the theater she was having a fucking sexual awakening around this Giulio character.
It was crazy.
It was fucking hilarious. And the brother was not having it.
No, he was not happy about this.
He was not happy.
Like, that age dynamic, like, it's...
He went, no, little sis, that's not right.
Yeah, he's like, if anyone that much older than you ever tries to talk to you, you need to call him a freak. And I'm just like, oh my god. It was really cute.
It was really cute. So that was my other favorite thing about this film, was the brother and sister talking about pro-shipping.
Oh, it was adorable.
Diligent, was it the start of the year they announced production? No! They announced that the film was coming out earlier this year. Like, they did the teasers that, hey, this movie's coming out this year. But no, production starts, they do this like a couple of years in advance. Like, they pre-plan this shit. So, like, I will say that if anyone has a very small latency window, it's definitely Bones when it comes to the manga adapting. But these movies are pretty much planned very far in advance. It's just the fact that when it comes to, okay, it's time to do full production, that's when they coincide with the TV anime, and you start having talent pulled away. But this time, like I said, we didn't feel that, because the veterans stay on the movie, besides Kenji stays on the anime, and he guides the newbies into doing something very good. And they get Naomi as well. A new director who's very talented, apparently. And so you don't feel any losses this season. When is My Hero Academia Season 7 coming out? Rachel, it's already out. They just finished it. Go to Crunchyroll right now, or Hulu, or wherever you can get access to My Hero. It's out. There's 21 episodes. We just reviewed it at the top of the stream. It was fantastic. It's the best since season 2. But I think what you're asking about is, when is season 8 coming out? And if they're smart, we will not see season 8 until next fall 2025 at the earliest. I fear they're gonna push for summer again, but who knows? Maybe this production was treated like a third core to the season, and maybe they'll surprise us this spring or summer. That could happen. I don't know. My birds, my inside wise guys, don't have a date yet. I would say fall of next year at the earliest. Ideally, they announced it for fall 2025. If that's the case, I agree. I wish they would wait for winter 2025, which would be January 2026. I feel like that's the perfect time, but in terms of anime marketing and seasonality, that's considered a dead period for anime, and I know they don't want that, and I know they don't want to wait till spring. So, fall 2025, if that's what's been announced, sounds right. Squabbleheads in the chat. Yes, I hope they take their time. Squabbleheads, are you streaming tonight? Because if so, I gotta raid you guys again. You privated, last time we were streaming, you privated your stream beforehand, so we couldn't raid you. Granted, we don't have raid capabilities, but like, I could have at least posted the link. But we love the squabs. We love the squabbleheads.
They're the best.
But yes, I feel like are there any final thoughts? Because I knew this was gonna be a quick stream. Just like we wanted to get that out there.
I will say, because I love shoujo so much, I was about the rose aesthetic that was on the screen whenever Julio and the girl were on screen. I was like, oh my god, that's cute.
It still wasn't enough, man. It still wasn't enough.
Oh no, it wasn't enough, but I haven't given it any flowers yet, so I'm giving it flowers for its flowers.
Fair enough. Host, you haven't seen this film. What do you think of it?
I thought the island looked cool. I was like, ooh,
They
I've seen
fucking
that before.
played this shit instead of Look Back. I'm so pissed.
Oh my god. No, that shit was really limited. I was lucky I had a theater that played that. Everyone go watch Look Back when that comes out. That
Boise had it. Boise had it. Fucking the theaters in Boise are so stacked. It makes me angry to think about.
I think they're gonna
miss it
push
so
that to
much.
streaming very quickly. But yeah, Rachel Chat says that My Hero's not on Netflix right now. Crunchyroll's where you want to go. Crunchyroll's where you want to go. That's where you're gonna get it first. And depending on your region, you might get it on Hulu.
Everyone watch The Substance instead.
No, don't
don't
watch
watch
The
The
Substance.
Substance.
Boom!
Yeah,
Yucky,
that should be the
yucky,
next
that
My Hero
movie.
movie. My Hero meets The Substance. Let that be the.
That'd be
next
far
one.
more interesting.
It would be more interesting. I will not deny that.
So if we
But
we
I
would
don't-
suggest watch Look Back instead. Is there anything else that we could suggest to
Anime
watch instead of this
movie-wise?
movie?
Instead of this movie,
If you know, if you have Vimeo, I'm sure everyone has access to Vimeo. Don Hertzfeld, the guy who made World of Tomorrow, his new shorts on Vimeo for $5.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I'll get.
Well, that's cool.
That's animated. That's cool. Go watch Transformers 1.
Drill says catch up on Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, all 3 chapters you get a year.
Don't watch the Hunter x Hunter movies though. Those are shit.
Here's what I'll say: go watch Don to Don, guys, because at the end of JoyCast, we made suggestions. We suggested Mob Psycho 100 is where My Hero Academia should go to watch their second ever anime. Honestly, Don to Don is kind of what they're looking for. It's both simultaneously what they don't want, but also very much what they want. But yeah, if you get to Echelon says see Transformers 1. Yes, if you still have Transformers 1 in your theaters, that's the animated movie you should go see. I think it's half a bad film and half the most amazing film ever, and I think that justifies it in being a solid good film. And you should go see it.
Echo also recommended Terrifier 3. Yes, the My Hero fans would love Terrifier 3.
No.
dude. No.
I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, but
I
like
do
was
want to
saying-
see Saturday Night though, really
yeah,
badly.
but guys, you should watch Dawn to Dawn. That's on Netflix.
Or Undead Unluck. I feel like that'll translate well to My Hero fans.
No, I think Dawn to Dawn is actually the next logical step for them.
What's the next logical step on your journey?
Like the way that people gas up Deku is kind of what Okarun is in a little bit of a way, but like in a good way. Like they don't let him have his cake and eat it too, but like he's kind of the tail puller that people say Deku is, but he really isn't. That we make fun of in the Abridged series.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Martinez says that we've been saying since the beginning that all Dark Might is a wasted opportunity for a bad guy. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And Jirlo is arguably the protagonist of this film. Considering that Deku is just a Deku action figure, I kind of agree. Echelon hearts the Squabblehead, says Echelon knows. Echelon's in the know. They know the Squabbleheads fucking rock. Yeah, so we're at 55 minutes here. I think we've said our piece. We've get our suggestions. Guys, it's been nice to be back after a huge life-defining week that we had in Detroit. We'll talk about that more in detail through other streams. We'll give you the cool stories in Detroit. Because basically, like, if people don't know, Steen and I got married officially. We've been domestic for years, but we finally made it official.
Domestic for years, for a year.
For like a year or 2 years. But, yeah, so we got married. That was awesome. It was a wonderful week. And then we had a big fucking reception weekend in Detroit where a lot of the Joy Boys met us. It was fucking legendary. And as in Stina's own words, this afternoon, I'm all rested up. I'm ready to go again. We're gonna go to. She wants to go back to Detroit this weekend to party, which I say, Godspeed. I'm still recovering. The funny thing is, I feel like some folks are recovering from the after party, the day after.
Oh yeah. Well, that's because like half the group greened out.
There was this. It was like Saturday was the drinking night. It was the actual party, and then Sunday was supposed to be, hey guys, let's just chill. And Stina goes on a run with everyone and comes back with all the fucking edibles. And all. It was SakuraCon Part 2. It was
awesome.
And we will get to that. So
much
that's just a
fun.
little primer. So stay tuned for all future streams because you're gonna be slowly getting a trickle of the legendary Detroit JoyRide weekend that started off as its own thing and then devolved on the last day into SakuraCon Part 2. Those longtime fans who know us know what SakuraCon was like, and it was quite something. But until then, guys, have a great evening. It is fall now. Enjoy the crispness of the air. Genuinely, it's a beautiful year. Those of you in the South who have been dealing with the hurricanes, our hearts are with you. Please stay safe. There's an aftermath to all that. I'm sure we're not quite done with the hurricane season. Stay safe, recover, take care of each other. We love you. We will catch you next time. All right? See you guys later. Peace.
Bye-bye.